Storm clouds gathering ahead of the 78th Vuelta and a team time trial that many who took part will never forget. The weather forecast said there would be rain. We were hoping it would be constant throughout the course and that favourites like Jumbo-Visma, Ineos Grenadiers, UAE Team Emirates and Soudal Quick-Step could prove what they're worth as far as the team time trial is concerned. Well, the rain began and it was due to intensify throughout the run. The messages were not good and the nerves were starting to show. Cairol had been first off the ramp on a technical course, made all the more difficult by that settling rain, which at some points actually became standing puddles. The intermediate check just before the 10 kilometre to go marker, 14.8 to be completed, and DSM did a fantastic job. The Firmenich boys got their heads down, played with the conditions which suited them, and indeed some parts of the course, because the inherent heat held within the tarmac after a very hot summer meant that it evaporated almost as quickly as the ambitions of those teams who came later. Arkea tumbled, so did Alpecin, and even Ineos Grenadiers were not immune. Laurens de Plus hitting the deck, Jayco and Eddie Dunbar found trouble, Ineos finishing with the minimum of 5 and setting a time 20 seconds down on DSM at that point. A puncture along the way for Jonas Vingegaard. Same thing had happened to Pippo Ganna on the course, and the night was coming. Jumbo at least finished with some vision, but 32 seconds down, having to wait for teammates who'd been hobbled. DSM in the hot seat, well, almost owned the place by a margin of 6 seconds at that margin. Well, about to set off were UAE Team Emirates. High hopes for them as well, with Ayuso and João Almeida, they amongst the favourites to knock at the door of the likes of Roglic, Vingegaard and Evenepoel. In the end, 37 seconds was given away, and João Almeida had actually fallen, needed a bike change, and his team didn't wait for him. Well, lots to be considered by the end of the day, one of which is that Movistar look absolutely on song. This was a brilliant ride from Enric Mas and his team, and in fact, it looked good enough to take the day, and had there not been some separation in the last 150 metres, you just never know. Only half a second separating themselves from DSM Firmenich, who still led. Still to start, and some nervous looks on the faces of Soudal Quick-Step. The defending champion Remco Evenepoel, by the end of the day, was absolutely livid. Through standing water they went, and indeed more than that, it was the darkness that upset them. They kept it together, and indeed by the time they look at the results, they'll see a lot of big names finishing behind them. But it did not stop the anger from bubbling to the surface. Joy for DSM. Not the same, of course, for Evenepoel. Well, his views aired roundly, but the leaders of this race, team competition, the youth jersey, and of course the coveted leaders jersey belong to Team DSM. And it's an Italian who wears red as we head back to Barcelona tomorrow. Lorenzo Milesi it is. We thought it might be Filippo Ganna, but no. So we have our leader. It is Milesi going into the second stage. Thunderstorms expected to intensify overnight, which is going to cause a worry to absolutely everybody. And this is what we're dealing with. Matara and then back to Barcelona. It's not a short stage either, 182 kilometres. We will have a climber's jersey at the end of the day, and the last little lump in a technical finale will make matters all the more challenging. The rain came, it hasn't dampened our enthusiasm, and we race on tomorrow. But this was certainly a trial